Africa is a land of vibrant color, a place of diverse culture, a continent with a rich history. In Africa, there is rarely a dull moment. The people are welcoming, warm, kind. Their doors are always open, their spirits always high. It makes you treasure life's little pleasures. All around the world, Africa is being celebrated. The abolition of slavery is being debated. African culture is being highlighted. Yet, the real African remains neglected. Their life virtually unchanged. Kambani Arts takes a look at African art, exposes some raw artistic talent, and asks why the international art scene is not swamped by such creative magic. We take you to Nigeria, in the heart of Africa, and follow a touching story of hope, of ambition, of a people suffering yet smiling, poor but persevering, a people deprived but expectant. Nigeria is a land of golden opportunity, blessed with natural resources, lush vegetation, rich culture, and steeped in tradition. Yet Nigeria is most known for the wrong reasons. 419, corruption, rampant crime. Despite this negative image, there is a positive side to reveal. A recent survey in New Scientist magazine portrays Nigerians as the happiest people in the world. Kambani Arts agrees and uncovers some unknown artistic talent whose work stems from sheer determination, pure discipline, and an unbreakable spirit. It is sad that their voices have remained unheard until now.
An artist can think of the future. An artist is creative. An artist is a genius. But an artist is oppressed in the third world because we feel they don't have the talent or stand a chance to become successful in life.
Kambani Arts is a non-profit making organization that promotes African art and engages children in creative arts activities. 2005 marked the beginning of an exciting and colorful adventure into Africa, unlocking a wealth of artistic talent, a breathtaking insight into the magical union of artists and children, eager to express Africa's vast culture through art.
Africa's art is absolutely fantastic. If you look at the contemporary art, or if you go to the modern art, or if you go back to the abstract art, or you go back to Picasso, they've all taken from Africa's art. And then you look to see how many African artists are being recognized. There are not that many. And African art is still being looked on as something that goes at the bottom of the museum.
The documentary follows Kambani Arts on tour with Expressions, an art exhibition held in Nigeria in May 2006. The tour lasted 9 days, started in Lagos, moved to Abuja, and ended in Enugu. It shows the vibrant flair of talented African artists as they engage with over 200 children from public sector schools. Children express themselves through creative writing, fashion, music, dance, readings, and drama. This added a wonderful touch of African culture and tradition, and is a great way to enhance children's cultural awareness.
I'm really excited about what Kambani Arts are doing. I'm really excited about the future of African art. I'm really excited about the many young people throughout our nation who will be able to engage with the community, engage with the continent, and learn about colour in a real sense of the word.
Kambani Arts takes a closer look into the lives of 6 little-known artists, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. We look at changes they have experienced since a recent international focus on African arts and culture. Has it made a difference? Or do artists still feel enslaved by the lack of recognition for their work? Chike is a God-fearing artist, inspired by his personal experience of poverty and hardship, especially in his quest for education. He is a master of improvisation and uses diverse methods and materials to express his art.
I remember going home at times, then ask them for money. My dad, his salary then was not of 3,600 as at then. And the school fees then was almost about that. So if he should give my brother his school fees, he won't have anything for me.
Ido is a unique artist, a portrait specialist. He is completely paralyzed from the neck down, following a viral illness. He spent 12 years in a Lagos hospital where he developed a love for art and now tries to help disabled children find meaning in life.
There's something else that we talked about very briefly about you going out from here and going out to find children who also have no use of their hands or legs or both, and spending your own time to teach them how to paint like you do. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, there are so many physically challenged children that are out there that are talented. So we have to inspire them, encourage them, go to them. You don't have to discriminate against them. Go near them and share their problems with them.
Morinikeji is an artist whose journey has been rough, his upbringing harsh. His parents disliked his love for art, which only made him more determined. We hear his account of his struggle to overcome the odds against his natural talent.
While I was in my elementary school, my dad came into my school one day, only for him to warn the head teacher never to allow me go anywhere that has anything to do with art.
Chinyere is a young, innocent artist whose excitement is enchanting. Her smile tells a big story in an environment of severe deprivation.
The challenges for artists are so many. You have the financial challenge and the community challenge. Financially, most artists, like I've seen so far, don't come from a very wealthy family. They're just starting up. And if you check it financially, they might not be able to buy their materials with the money they have, if at all they should buy.
Henry is a practical, down-to-earth character, a spontaneous artist. He loves the abstract and is fond of representing traditional African masks and motifs in his work.
We young artists that are coming up, they don't value us. They only value the big ones because the name is there. Not that you cannot see a young artist provide a good art piece, but because that name is already there.
Kanayo is a humble, softly spoken artist whose work has sold quite well. He likes to experiment and uses local alternative materials to express his work. He also loves children and was greatly inspired by the amazing talent witnessed on the tour.
Our God says this is a day of celebration, and He wants His people to celebrate. Please, you man down the drums.
Let's use expressions. The recent exhibition, an example. And the highlight, I would say, was the children's creative writing and the performance. The dance was awesome. They really did a wonderful job with the dancing, the cultural dance and the performance, the drama they did. So it was pretty inspirational because actually, to tell you the truth, I got to learn some things from those kids, in relation to how to do the New Yam Festival, the rites that are performed. So really, I got to learn a lot.
It is time we reached out and touched the lives of Africa's unknown artists and helped provide a voice for them to be heard. This will give them greater hope for the future. The recent UK Celebrity Big Brother series has highlighted the importance for awareness of cultural diversity. Children could gain from a better understanding of cultural differences in today's society. We are helping children enhance their awareness of the values of African culture and tradition. by expressing this through creative arts and writing. A diversity of schools and children's groups have participated in our art exhibitions, their work complementing that of the artists, often providing fresh new meanings in a magical way that only a child can achieve. Kambani's Hakuna Matata exhibition at the BBC was a revelation of child talent. Listen to this.
Beautiful me, my beautiful body, I show it with pride. My beautiful black body, which I shall not hide. My beautiful body, it may be dark, but it can shine. My beautiful body, I'm so glad that it's mine.
Today's children are tomorrow's leaders, and we have a responsibility to assist them in making informed career choices. Creating awareness of the arts at a young age is very important. Doing this in Africa is a huge challenge. Abject poverty often means that parents do not encourage art in their children. We need to reverse the trends of poverty within the arts in Africa and help create a respected profession of the artist.
Arts has been a big part of our program here in Nigeria for a number of years, and it's been focusing very much on young people and helping them to develop their skills and to access the arts community in the United Kingdom. From our point of view, Kambani has fitted very well into the activities that have been going on for some time in the school sector.
The Expressions Art Tour was based on strong African themes. Eyo Festival for Lagos, Durbar Festival for Abuja, and New Yam Festival for Enugu. Each theme had deep cultural meanings, and the aim was for children participating in workshops to enhance their understanding of the theme and link it to a work of art. This was done to help children produce an inspired piece of writing. For this to work, children interacted directly with artists. This gave them a better understanding of how the artists think, how they feel about color, their emotions, their moods. Mixing all these ingredients together, flavored with the innocence of a child, was a recipe for true expression.
We have a large trove of cultural and artistic treasure in this country which we have not developed and leveraged, and I think this effort is a step in the right direction. We are looking forward to see how we attract more and more people to the city to see the whole range of Nigeria's cultural and artistic history. So it's a great thing. And our work with the young people, our intergenerational dialogue, is really meant to begin to inculcate in our young people good values, belief in what is right, compliance with rules and regulations, which we believe constitute one of the challenges that this country faces.
In the weeks leading up to the tour, there was a lot of work to be done. After almost a year of intense planning, we had to photograph over 300 art pieces in all 3 areas of the tour, carefully cataloguing every detail. We arranged hotel accommodation for organizers and guests, sorted out transport buses for artists and organizers, organized a national press conference, and drafted a comprehensive 70-page exhibition catalogue, making sure it was ready for the start of the tour. As a relaxed continent, things are often late in Africa, where we tend to operate on African time. It is almost expected to turn up a couple of hours late for events. This turned out to be a real problem for the tour. We had to deal with a large number of late entries, where artists came at the last minute to try and register their work. It was hard to say no, especially when the artists are really struggling, and some had sacrificed a lot to bring their work from a long distance for the tour. In the end, we agreed to extend registration periods to allow more opportunities for artists to submit work. It paid off. It was clear that the best was really saved for last, and some of the late entries were breathtaking. The talent in Africa is truly mind-boggling.
Art in Africa, quite amazing, especially in Nigeria. Okay. It's a diverse country with diverse amount of people, with a lot of culture, and the art is quite amazing. And it comes through in the different paintings. You see the culture coming in, coming through, and people really express themselves in the art.
Over the period of the tour, I kept a daily diary of events. Eyo is a festival of masquerades unique to Lagos and dates back to the early 18th century, when folklore tells that the king's wife had a miracle son after consulting the oracle of divinity. This son became the Oba of Lagos, and Eyo masquerades depict spirits symbolizing the remembrance of the king's son. Today, Eyo Festival is associated with the celebration of great events. It is also worth noting that Eyo is the most represented masquerade amongst Nigerian artists.
We are in a country where most people do more complaining than contributing, but we feel that lighting candles is much more important than complaining about the darkness. Yes. And so Kambani was a good opportunity. We had several partners that we collaborate with on several areas. So again, all the ingredients were there. Children were involved. There's art, which is a big part of our corporate and social responsibility agenda. There's the country involved. Nigeria is the place. All the ingredients are there.
The tour started in Lagos. The morning of the first day was filled with anxiety. The agreed funding was still way below our minimum budget, and some sponsors had not fully committed themselves. I began to wonder how we would pull this off.
While we do not make excuses for some of the image challenges we have, we're working very hard to correct some of these things, not just externally, but even locally, through the local aspects of the Heart of Africa project.
We spent most of the day taking the display screens and artwork from the registration center to Silverbird Galleria, the main exhibition venue. It required a couple of trips as the van was hopelessly small, had no roof, and the sky was a hazy hue, beautiful but downcast. It looked like rain. I prayed hard. At the Galleria, we faced another problem. We arrived at 5 p.m, but were told we could not access the exhibition area until after 9. I negotiated hard with security, who kindly agreed a small space at the side entrance. Relieved, I breathed again.
We do have a focus on young people, and a number of our programs are designed to actually support young Nigerians. And it's great for us that we're able to be associated with Kambani, because it actually links in very well with the Global Schools Partnership Programme that we actually deliver on behalf of DFID.
After 9 p.m, we put up the screens and mounted the artwork. We finished at 2 a.m.
I thank God for my mother, who actually, sat me down to really lecture me on life, that I don't have to be somebody else, that I should be the person God has destined me to be. That since I have the talent in art, that why don't I go into that? I say no, because artists are not taken as professionals. So they've not come to the highlight as they are there in the Western world. So at the end of the day, she talked to me, and she was able to talk me into towing the art line.
I managed a few hours sleep before another hectic day. We had an early interview with Protea Hotel Management. They have been so supportive for the tour.
I think it's a good idea for the young Nigerians to express themselves and also to grow themselves towards the future, because they are really the leaders for this country for the future.
I left for the Galleria early in the morning. I needed to make sure that the exhibition was fully set up by 10 a.m. and the artists were available to take care of the artwork after the Galleria opened its doors to visitors. Once I was satisfied that everything was fine, I then made my way to the National Theatre. This is where participating children were taking a tour of the National Gallery of Modern Art. The children had a great time learning about the history of art in Nigeria. Edori of the National Gallery did a great job.
Before the white man came and said, no, we don't like this system, then they...
We also thought that it'd be good to take children out of their current environment that's less privileged, out of the current environment, take them into an environment which they've never ever experienced before, which is basically the art world. Also at the same time, it's an opportunity for them to unleash their creative abilities.
After the tour of the National Gallery, we made our way back to Silverbird Galleria, where children would meet artists and find out more about their work. You would think we would have a peaceful ride, but Ada, the children's facilitator, had other ideas. She started the kids off with singing and storytelling. Before we knew it, everyone was singing, laughing, and having a wonderful time.
Nigeria needs something done. It needs just somebody grabbing it by the scruff of the neck and saying, our children, our creative talents, don't abandon them.
After arriving at the Galleria, Ada got busy engaging the children in creative writing workshops, preparing them for their fashion show, drama, dance, and reading. Children got to meet artists one-on-one and discuss the meanings behind their work. They then had the task of writing a creative piece of work around an art piece of their choice and based on the cultural theme.
What we want to be known for is providing for the young ones, because really, if you look at it, there's absolutely nothing in our environment today for them. Everything is geared towards the adults, the parents, and we've just decided that that's the niche, the area that we want to concentrate in. So basically, that's what Silverbird has been involved in.
Working with children is challenging but rewarding. Working with special needs children can change your views forever. As part of Kambani's Para-Picture exhibition at London Guildhall Gallery, we were fortunate to work with 3 diverse schools: Gracebrook Primary, Elizabeth Garrett Anderson, and Richard Clousley Special Needs School. The children's creative writing was breathtaking.
2 paintings I saw a few days ago. They were pretty different, but opposites, no. One was emotional, but one looked real. One you could see, one you could feel. One was a woman with terrible strife. She had suffered pain the whole of her life. While she worked on the field.
The children's readings form part of the launch for the month-long Para-Picture exhibition, an exhibition that engaged the children in pairing pictures from Africa with pictures from historic Britain. Children explored issues of cultural awareness through their writings. They expressed their feelings about cultural difference, as witnessed in the themes behind the paired pictures. The evening went really well, with guests visibly impressed by the children's readings. The assessment carried out at Richard Clousley School made it quite clear how creative projects like this can have such a positive impact on participating children. I firmly believe that if Kambani's work can put a smile on the face of a single child and have a positive impact on their life, then all the work is worthwhile.
It's not easy for me as a science student to turn around and start something on art. I did not do art in school, but I know that when one row closes, another row will be open. So I think that is what happened actually, and I didn't want to be a liability to my family and my entire society. That's why I had to summon up courage and do something on my own.
This was the main exhibition day at the Galleria. Things got off to a bad start when I couldn't find the camera crew. They had wandered off to town. I called them and we agreed that they would meet me at the Galleria. I was a bit angry about this, especially as this was the main day and there was so much work to finish off before the evening of cultural celebration. It so happened that everything went well and the evening became very busy. There was lots of interest in the artwork with some good sales. The children's fashion show was great. The crowd was thrilled. The children's readings were amazing. The atmosphere was warm and guests enjoyed a great time.
The only way they can get out of poverty is to be in the arts. And this is why I promote the arts all the time. That's why anybody comes to me and they want to give a kid a chance to be successful, I will support that program and that individual because it is the only way I can help that child become successful.
This day was set aside for traveling to Abuja. The FRCN bus arrived early, 6:30 a.m. It also quickly became obvious that we had a few problems to overcome. There were too many artists and far too much luggage to take on the bus. Sadly, this meant that some artists could not travel. As the problem developed, time was ticking away. Peter, the bus driver, was getting agitated. We managed to leave Lagos shortly after 10 a.m. The bus journey was fun, with a number of interesting stops on the way.
Right from the beginning, I wasn't encouraged by my father in particular. My mother happens to be an illiterate, so she doesn't really know what it is to be an artist. But to my dad, I think his hope has always been having the first son, his first son, to be either a lawyer or a medical doctor, an engineer.
Halfway to Abuja, when we stopped for fuel, I tried to engage the police in an interview, but they backed off when they realized there were cameras.
It has not been an easiest something because we are going a lot of problem as an artist in Nigeria. Material that we are using here is oil medium and water medium, all expensive. Before you can achieve one art piece, you know what it takes as an artist.
Just before getting to Abuja, we came across some northern Fulani cattle rearers. It was interesting to watch them manage their cattle. They had complete control. We finally got to Abuja late, shortly after 8 p.m., eventually finding Protea Hotel after much confusion. We unpacked and those who had made other arrangements left.
Arts sell more with the contemporaries, the old ones, but it will be better off if people should start looking into the new generation and patronize their arts.
Abuja is a beautiful city, organized, planned, picturesque. Whether sitting on the open-air roof terrace of the British Council or driving through the organized town, you can't help but marvel at nature's wonders. The characteristic rocky terrain of Abuja blending seamlessly with the urban buzz of city activity. Abuja is one place that entraps you in her charm, a charm that is often breathtaking. If you have been there once, I can promise you will want to come again. The theme for Abuja was a Durbar festival. Durbar is a cultural celebration used to mark grand occasions. The British introduced them to northern Nigeria in the early 20th century, and they served to remind local people of their subordination to British colonial authority. Durbars were characterized by grand displays including traditional music, dance, acrobatic feats and horsemanship. Often, the emir, his horsemen and other participants would proceed to the emir's palace in a grand procession, accompanied by musicians and singers. I woke up to a big shock. The weather was dreadful. The children's workshops were set to take place from 9 a.m. at the Nike Center. Nike Davis herself had flown in specially from Lagos to personally host the workshops. A large part of this was due to take place in open air. I prayed very hard.
Before now, it used to be a hell of war for us to be able to get the materials we use. It's not that easy getting that materials around here. You have to pay through your blood for you to be able to get the needed materials.
Nike is an enchanting woman, culturally captivating, hospitable, humble. A visit to her art center leaves you feeling completely refreshed and reborn. Her welcome dance energizes you while the music stirs your inner soul. We met up with her before the tour and she talked to us about Africa's cultural heritage.
That is why what you people are doing with the going back to the children art to help them to know more about their root. That is why it's very, very important. And we really appreciate it, especially you people coming from UK, coming to enlighten people, for people to see, because we need the media to expose this dying cultural heritage so people can go back and start doing it again. No matter what you become, you still need that hard work to take you there.
Yes, you do.
And I always like to encourage the youth. Just continue to work hard, you will get there.
Kids are free-minded. They don't hold anything back, you know. So they are very open. So you can really see through a kid and draw a whole lot of things from just looking at a child, or maybe especially during a performance or anything. So it's a very good experience with the kids.
What did you think of the interpretation of your work?
Oh, that was beautiful. One work I did, I call it language of expressions, which was, I tried to use symbols and signs that were used way back. You know, they call Luli designs. That was signs we used to communicate before the white man came. Well, so probably that would have been the way we write today if we hadn't been colonized. So it's pretty interesting. I was telling the kid about it, and he was very excited to, to be exposed to such signs and symbols, So, it was educative on his side and pretty, encouraging on my own side,
Nike's workshops were a highly anticipated part of the tour. It would certainly be a shame if we had to cancel them for the rain. Still praying and still raining, I went to the Yar'Adua Center, the main exhibition venue, just to make sure that the screens were in place and we could start mounting the artwork. National Gallery staff had come early from Lagos and started putting up the screens the previous evening. They looked great. Following a quick meeting with artists, we agreed a layout for the artwork. It was now 9:30 a.m. The rain had subsided and it was drizzling.
Schools in the UK are going to work with our children. They're going to research, they're going to look into culture, they're going to choose themes for their curriculum, and they're going to do all this with other African countries under Pan-African school partnerships, and there's funding from British Council for that.
Some weeks earlier, we had visited some schools to inform them of the tour and find out how we could work together to ensure it would be a great success. Since Kambani is focused on improving children's education, we took a tour of schools to witness the educational initiatives. There were impressive laboratories for the study of science. One school had a noteworthy program on the environment and sustainable development and went a long way to encourage children's participation.
The students you see here are involved in the project that will expose them to the Global Schools Partnership. Presently, they are working on a sustainable development. You see, they have come to understand what sustainable development is, and they are taking it from the area of environment. They are trying to look at the environment and to survey how good the environment is and why it is good for us to keep our environment together and how the development we have is tilting towards the destruction of the planet. And then they want to make recommendations on how some of these distortions could be averted so that we can have a greater and a better planet for the future generations.
Getting children involved, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best ideas. I mean, and you couldn't get any better idea, because the children in arts, we do workshops, TIE, theatre in education, you know, and we help schools work through certain problems, and you could do that with art. You know, just forms of children expressing themselves without actually having to say anything, but doing it, showing it, it's perfect.
The rain had eased a little by the time the school buses started to arrive at the Nike Arts Center shortly after 10 a.m. Nike welcomed them with a warm reception of dance and music. There were far more children than anticipated. Nike said she did not mind. She was delighted. Her outlook was, the more, the merrier. The workshop started quite swiftly, and the children were introduced to the age-old traditional method of cloth making. They witnessed the extremely skilled process of spinning cotton. The whole process was quite fascinating. They then saw how it was used to weave cloth. The cloth was then prepared for dyeing. All the children participated. They then had a go at dipping their cloth into the dye. This is done to create unique designs. Nike was always on hand to lend her support. Nike then showed the children another method of cloth design, a method involving the use of wax. The wax is melted on a stove to a good temperature. The melted wax is then used to make designs. It is a joy to watch a skilled hand creating a work of art on cloth. She then talked us through the wide range of art she promotes at her center, including fabric design, the use of recycled materials, wooden beads, and most importantly, contemporary African art. Throughout the workshops, the children were keen to take notes. By the end, no one wanted to leave. The cultural experience turned into a dancing frenzy. There was a lot learned about African culture and tradition. The children were fortunate to witness original African art at its finest. Meanwhile, the dance became more frenzied. The children simply could not get enough. Clearly intrigued by the wealth of cultural expression, children and adults threw all caution and inhibitions to the wind. The feelings of warmth and excitement that everyone felt during the workshops simply exploded into an all-out party feeling. The earlier rain that had threatened to prevent the workshops now seemed like a distant memory. We were due to leave Nike's Art Center at 1 p.m. We managed to prize people away by 3. We were having so much fun, no one wanted to leave. We then arrived at the Yarodua Center very late, and Ada had to do some rushed work with the children to enable them finish their creative written work on time. There was a guided tour of the center with presentations on the Durbar Festival and then the children's creative writing workshops. The children interacted really well with artists, challenging them with wisdom beyond their years, their interpretations often creating intense admiration from artists.
Struggle for the fittest.
Some artists even chose to use the children's interpretations to create a greater, more emotional impact. It is fair to say that some of the children left deep impressions on the artists.
I got one writing on my own work. I titled it The Last Supper. But I explained the work to one person I came back again and I saw another write-up of my own. The child had a different idea. That his own was the pilgrimage. It was also similar to the Last Supper that I portrayed there. I was like, well, art has different meaning.
The children did manage to create some problems for us. Just like at the Nike Center, there were plans for only 50 children, but over 80 turned out, and there were not enough Cadbury goods for everyone. We did the best we could with what we had, so that everyone left with something.
It's a very good initiative because it's quite exposing the students to a lot of all this creative writing, and they are so interesting. These principals and the students are so enthusiastic about it. You know, this particular program has exposed some talents, hidden talents. Yes.
It's good for the artists, especially the African artists. I'm a Nigerian artist, and what Kambani is doing, it's going to not only help the kids, it will help the African artists, and it's going to project us forward, and I think it's a very good idea.
The weather was fantastic today. The fierce sun seemed to be making up for the day before. I made my way to the Ardwa Center early in the morning and helped artists rearrange some artwork. After this, the exhibition opened for the day.
I try to Africanize everything about the clothing, that bringing us back home from Western slavery in clothing. So this is the concept out here that is materializing into this beautiful work of art.
We had to deal with a few problems at the Ardwa Center, although we managed to sort most things out in the end. I was just thankful that we were exhibiting in one of the most beautiful exhibition spaces in Abuja, and any irritations quickly subsided. The evening turned into a cultural extravaganza. There was a truly remarkable exhibition of contemporary African arts. The children's creative writing exhibition greatly enhanced the fine diversity of artwork and left many visitors amazed at their creative talent. The African traditional dances were vibrant and uplifting. The colors were like a rainbow brought to life. Filled to capacity with the energy of youth, their readings were inspirational, their fashion show thrilling. The children injected a touch of extra magic into a very special evening. In a strange kind of twist, at the end of the evening, after all the magic and when all the guests had gone, a downcast feeling descended on the center. Despite Abuja being the federal capital, the new mega city, despite the large turnout, not one single art piece was sold. I felt so low, so desperate for artists. I did not sleep well that night.
The economy is bad, patronage is poor, market is poor as well. There's no support and sponsorship for the arts. So, and all these things quells your creativity, you know. You don't have enough galleries to carry the works of the artists we have in Nigeria. How can somebody come and talk about art when he's not got the basics of life as well? So it's really poor. It's a very struggling one.
May 27th is Children's Day in Nigeria. I went for a live TV interview early in the morning to talk about the art tour. It went well, although I was aware that we had to leave before midday to get to Enugu before dark. Artists and the team from the National Gallery of Art had taken down the exhibition and packed the screens and some artwork into a hired van. They then made their way to the hotel so that we could all leave at the same time for Enugu. I packed all my personal effects in the van. I figured the van was safer in case of any mishap. It was unlikely to be targeted by criminals and could escape delays by police checkpoints. As things would have it, that turned out to be one decision that would cause me the most anxiety during the tour. One of the artists, Francis, had kindly volunteered to ride with the van for safety.
The Heart of Africa project is a really exciting initiative of this administration. This initiative is supposed to transform our image, how we are perceived within Nigeria as well as outside, to rebuild our confidence back to what it used to be, so that our country leads Africa.
Within an hour of leaving Abuja for Enugu, the van carrying the screens developed an engine problem. This meant they had to frequently stop and cool off, top up the engine oil, and move on again at a snail's pace. Our bus carried on, and we agreed to keep in touch by phone. With all my cash and personal effects in the van, it didn't seem like such a good idea after all. This was going to be a long ride. All this was happening at a time that artists' hopes had been dashed by not selling any work. I was feeling more and more uncomfortable about the next 7 hours on that bus.
There's this painting, you can see it depicts unity in diversity. I'm trying to express myself, in terms of what is happening in the country right now. We need unity in this country to be able to lift up Nigeria from this mess that we find ourselves. We need to be united and lift up Nigeria from economic mess, social and all this political mess that we find ourselves in this country.
In an unusual twist, my premonitions of doom and gloom were about to change quite dramatically. What took place restored my love for Africa's no-problem culture, something that is often the case even within the sharp realities of deprivation. This is one of the reasons why Nigerians may have been described as the happiest people in the world. Less than 1 hour into the journey, one of the artists, Nemezie, got up and proceeded to break the somber mood. He made fun out of everything and anyone. No one was spared from his jibes, one-liners, yabis as they call it in Nigeria. Before long, everyone was in stitches. Others simply joined in. It got even worse. For 6 hours, the laughter continued. It was unrelenting. In the end, everyone laughed so hard that the depression and frustration of Abuja simply melted away. We finally arrived at Protea Hotel Nike Lake around 7 p.m. It was getting dark. Most of us were still laughing. I figured that when the van carrying the screens arrived, we would set up the exhibition straight away. I tried to call Francis, but there was no reception on his phone. I had tried for a few hours without success. The laughter on the bus had subdued my worries, but now I had real fears for the whereabouts of the van and the well-being of those on board.
I sold the work, and not only that I sold the work, I got to be in a relationship with the hotel that the exhibition was hosted.
Protea Hotels?
Yeah, Protea Hotels. Actually, they invite me for exhibition whenever I'm ready. Yeah, so that gives me a wider opportunity. That's another step for me.
10 p.m., still no sign of the van. Although I tried to look composed, I was panicking and anxious. I had tried to call frequently. There was no phone signal.
They don't appreciate art in Nigeria. They don't.
Why don't they?
I don't know. Maybe the poverty. Somebody will have something to eat before you now start looking for an art piece. You know what it takes. An art piece, one art piece costs so much money. But they will say, okay, let me find someone to eat before looking for an artworks. So that's why they don't patronize artists very well in Nigeria.
At midnight, there was still no bus and no contact. Those who had been trying to reassure me by telling me not to worry were themselves looking panicked. I prayed. Finally, at 12:30 a.m., My phone rang. It was Francis. They had just entered Enugu town. His phone battery had died, and he had stopped by the roadside to let me know they were okay. I breathed again. The van arrived at the hotel by 1 a.m. After thanking Francis and collecting my bags, we offloaded the screens and set up the exhibition. This had to be done immediately as the exhibition started the next day. Most of us were exhausted. It was a huge test of determination. The theme for Enugu was the New Yam Festival. The New Yam Festival is an annual event of feasting which takes place during August and September, mainly within Igbo communities of eastern Nigeria. It is celebrated in honor of the Yam god. Folklore has it that sometime in the 16th century, after a chief witnessed a bountiful harvest, he took some tubers of yam, roasted them, and got a bowl of palm oil and invited his kinsmen round to celebrate, giving thanks to the god of the land who made it all possible. Since then, it has become an annual event. Masquerades play a major role in the festival. Their beads, raffia and colors are used to instigate fear, whilst the vibrant attire and beauty reflects the people's creativity in arts and culture.
The kind of work I do, I use mostly unconventional materials. I use paper cutters, what I get from magazines, and at times it's very, very difficult to get them here. Even when you get them, they are very, very expensive. At times you can't even afford them. Like I buy a magazine, old one, for 500. Now if you're buying the new one, it's 1,500, 2,000 upward. And by the time you get, like me doing a work, it will take up to 20 magazines. So how will I be getting 1,500 to get 20 magazines to do just one work?
Sunday, the Children's Workshop Day. Up to 100 children were anxious to attend the workshop at Prote Hotel, Nike Lake Resort. We started late. After all, it was Sunday, and a lot of families went to church in the morning. After church, children assembled at the offices of Alliance Française, from where they would be taken to Protea Hotel.
The highlight of my time was the children's creative writing exhibition. At least it gave the children room to express themselves. And that was what the expression is all about. And they were able to express themselves through the works of the artists.
Enugu is special to me, an art-centered town of sharp contrasts. This is where the Kambani dream began. A dream supported by Alliance Française, who offered great support for the tour, helping with TV advertising, linking sponsors, and assisting with transport and logistics. They have also pledged to support the development of a pilot art center in Enugu, which, if successful, could be trialed across the continent of Africa. I managed to share a few words with Gerard, the director of Alliance Française in Enugu.
We welcome your idea of having a more permanent gallery that will enable us to welcome more artists on a more regular basis. And part of this project and part of the building would be the art center that would be, I would say, managed by Kambani and by Alliance Française together. I think it's, to me, it's a very rich idea.
Ada, the children's facilitator, had done a great job in getting the children prepared. In the weeks before the tour, she had visited all participating public schools, conducted essay competitions, and oversaw a selection process to choose the brightest talent. She also organized drama, dance, and music performances by the children.
Creative writing is another aspect, and it's a feature of this current program, that the schools are actually contributing. The children are writing the script to support the paintings.
The children arrived at Protea Hotel shortly after midday. I was told they had a fun-filled ride. They were simply getting in the mood for the day.
With an exhibition like this, with workshops involving children, and not only children from rich home, but children for the I would say the average secondary school in town. I think we contribute, and you contribute to change this perception of the artist, which in my opinion is wrong.
It became apparent almost immediately that once again there were too many children, many more than we had planned for. This time I counted over 100 children, and I knew we would have a problem catering for them. In our despair, Proto Hotel management came to the rescue. They organized extra catering with an impressive spread for the children. Everything just seemed to fall into place like magic. God was certainly with us.
What is your dream? What is it that you like most to be able to achieve now that you're at this?
Well, with my artistic career, I would like to be exposed internationally, because I think it will go a long way in promoting the cultural heritage of this country as well, and it will also boost my own ego as well. So I believe that, but right now, I am still looking for sponsor, to be able to frame works. I have a lot of works, but there's no money to frame, and accommodation and everything over there. Yes, so I need bodies that will finance all those things for me.
As there were so many children, Ada got everyone to break into groups. This resulted in some challenging workshops, during which children teamed up with artists and got busy comparing ideas around the meaning and interpretation of the artwork. It was in Enugu that artists were most impressed by the depth of the children's perceptions. The children produced some extremely creative written work, with a number of artists adopting the children's meanings for their work. The children also held a number of readings. This was quite inspiring. After mounting their work beside the artwork, they then rehearsed some vibrant scenes for their dance and drama. It was clear we were all in for a great time. By the end of the evening, a number of artists had also sold work. And this was not even the main exhibition day. Things were really looking good. The disappointment of Abuja seemed well and truly behind us.
I remember when Chima called me, there's a work I did apparition of the horse emerges. When Chima told me that he has taken the work to Prince Charles and they've accepted the work, I was like, kind of, wow. So my work is in the collection of Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales. That's a kind of a big one for me.
The exhibition opened at 10 a.m. after I had a meeting with artists to sort out volunteers for the evening. During the course of the day, the atmosphere in the hotel turned nasty. A political party gathering showed signs of serious rivalry when hundreds of armed police engaged in some heated exchanges. Our camera was confiscated by the police. The scuffles made it embarrassing for visitors to the exhibition. It showed glimpses of the ugly side that Nigeria needs to address.
When I realized things were working well with the artist underneath Kambani, I felt, wow, if I had known, I should have given my consent right from the beginning. My mind wasn't on the financial aspect of it really, but as an artist, thinking of your work being abroad, exhibiting alongside some other artists, having some big artists abroad coming to see what you have to offer, it's quite an interesting thing, a very big thing to me.
As usual, there were some problems on the day. Getting things done in Africa is different from the Western world. I had to find a business center with a color printer to print some leaflets. There was a power cut in the middle of printing, and although the center had a generator, there was no fuel. I had to wait while someone went to fetch fuel. As I waited, I treated myself to some ice cream, African style. You just can't help unwinding in such a no-problem atmosphere. Eventually, all was well, and the leaflets were printed.
The memory that stayed in my life was the very first time, the period that I'm with the founder of Kambani. You know, staying with me to eat a local food in my house and stay together and chat in a local setting with my mother. I felt so happy.
The evening bore witness to an incredible display of contemporary African art, flavored by an inspiring exhibition of children's creative writing. The children's cultural celebration was themed on the New Yam Festival and turned out to be a breathtaking display of dance, drama, readings and music. It was a befitting finale to the tour, leaving everyone feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. Artists' fortunes had improved dramatically and most were smiling again. The atmosphere was full of cheer. The children were on fire with their drama. Artists and visitors were amazed, and many learned something new about the New Yam Festival, its culture, its background, its meaning. At the end of the evening, everyone was content. Many were exhausted. We retired early, aware that we had to dismantle the screens early in the morning and load them onto the FRCM bus to take them back to Abuja.
So what did you think about the whole exhibition then?
I thought it was brilliant. I honestly thought it was brilliant. The whole package has come together. We were a bit skeptical at first that it put it off, but we're very, very proud to be part of the arrangements because it's turned out to be really brilliant. I think the concept is good, and I hope that the project gets more and more support because Nigeria needs it. And all the artists in Nigeria need to be supported in this way because Africa's got a lot of talent.
At the end of the tour, there was an overwhelming feeling of joy in the air. What had begun with uncertainty had resulted in sheer delight. We witnessed intense fun and laughter at a time when the majority would despair. The entire experience was amazing, far above all expectations. The colors were vibrant, the dances explosive. The children delivered a non-stop flow of diverse cultural entertainment. The artists provided a spectacular array of contemporary African arts, from canvases to woodwork, metals, recycled materials, sculptures. Every variable form of expression was used. Over 160 artists and 200 children participated, creating a whirlwind of African culture and tradition, ensuring a most incredible experience. The tour marked the beginning of an art touring venture which is sure to make a lasting impact on the future of African art.